Hello, 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 hello. How is everyone out there? I'm so excited to be here today. I have a very, very, very special guest, and you are in for a treat today. So, what I need you to do right now is share this video out. I need you to, if you're on the replay and you're watching this on the replay, put hashtag replay. Tell us where you're coming in from and you're tuning in from. We are so happy to have you. Our guest today is really very, very talented, gifted, knowledgeable, and wise. And I met this wonderful, wonderful, brilliant coach not so long ago, but ever since I met him, I can just see how he is just a world changer and he educates in his own way. And so today I want to bring him forward. And I'm just going to share my screen for a moment so that you can just get, we'll talk a little bit more about him when he comes on, but I want to share my screen with you guys. So if you can, let's see. Actually, let's bring him on to say hello, and then I'll share my screen and we'll talk a little bit about more about him. But welcome to the Hosting Brilliance Show. I want to introduce my amazing guest, Ray. You can come off of mute, and I'm going to pull you up to the stage. Let's get me off. We are so happy to have you. Say hello to the people. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Say hello to my guests, guys. I'm so excited. We have been waiting for this moment. We talked a long time ago and we were like, oh, I can't wait till the summertime. We're going to definitely just dig in. We are always working towards creating brilliant lives and being the best of ourselves, even through our challenges. Tell us where you're from and why you're even here today.
I'm in San Leandro, California. And no, California is not as bad as what the media says it is. The weather's great. We don't have to deal with tornadoes or storms or anything like that. Just an earthquake once in a while, but I'm willing to deal with it. Regardless, is been in school districts for 9 years, and when everything was shut down, I started my coaching business. And I met Queenie at Speaker Connections, and we connected and aligned so wonderfully.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And I love your story, and I know that you have an amazing story, and I know a lot of people can relate to. And so today, the title of our show is Hi, Tamara. Today, the title of our show is Go from Pain to Purpose. How many of you out here are in a space where you might be stuck? You know you're brilliant. You know you have vision. You know you have goals. You know you have dreams, but you are stuck in the pain of things, the pain part of your journey, which we're always going to go through some sort of pain. But you want to go to purpose, right? And we want to connect that by empowering relationships, right? And how we empower relationships within that. So within our pain, our purpose, how we empower relationships through having the courage, guys, to walk in our spirituality and really walk through it and don't just stay stuck. I want you to tell us a little bit, Ray, about your journey, and then I'll offer some more information that I've learned about you that I feel is so brilliant. But how did you go from pain to purpose within your journey? And you were an educator, I know that. So let's start there because we do talk about education on this show. Let's start there.
Pain to purpose. Well, it's kind of a long story of a lot of family struggle, divorced parents. My step grandfather died on Christmas when I was age 4, and that pretty much changed the whole complexion of my family. And I didn't have one house I considered home. I had 4 homes. Only child, borrowed here, and I was teased, bullied at school, teased in my athletic sports playing days. I got jumped twice in my sports playing days, in my high school days, and eventually, with the separated household and things going on at home and at school, I went through a break. I went through a psychotic break when I was 17 years old. Went into a mental hospital for a week. Lost touch of reality. Was out, but it took me a long time to get my psychological and mental awareness back. It took the whole summer, and even when I went back to school, they didn't. really know if I had the potential of graduating my senior year, and I did graduate and ended up going to junior college and becoming a math tutor when I was at age 19. I mastered algebra and started tutoring it. So I'd become a professional educator at a very young age, at the age of 20. And I think my passion and desire to help people increased. So as sort of like this went down, my inspiration to help people went up. And every stage of life I've been in, I've helped people. So I go back to junior college tutor. I was a self-employed tutor when I was at Cal State East Bay. I did it off and on. And I said, well, I want to take this to the next level. So I became a substitute teacher for 3 different school districts around the area. And I became a science teacher within a year and a half, taught my own very science classroom. And Ash and I realized, there's only so much I could do in a classroom. When you're in a classroom, you're in a box. You really are in a box. And a lot of educators will understand like there's only so much you could do to help children. You can only help them with the subject. You can only help them with issues at school. But what you can't do is interfere or what's going on in their home family dynamic.
Mm.
So
How do you think that that affects, like, I mean it's hard because sometimes you know that something might be going on and it's like how do you help a child who's dealing with lots of family dynamics to actually learn and engage in the classroom, and where do you see some of those students kind of like falling in the
first
school?
of all, right now they could sign up for Ray of Life, Marriage, and Spiritual Empowerment. But regardless
I
of,
know that's right, you better promote. I love
but
it.
anyways, I will tell you right now, as an educator, it's hard because parents blame teachers for why their students or why their children are misbehaving in the classroom.
Mm,
Teachers blame parents for why their children are misbehaving in the classroom.
mm,
And the thing is, it's actually both. And it takes both to hold each other accountable. It takes
yes.
both to work as a team.
I
As the
love it.
teacher, if the teacher could be a boring teacher, okay, and the student doesn't connect with the teacher, about 60 to 70% of the students are going to do the work, but there's going to be that student who has a really bad form of ADHD is going to start throwing things and start doing things. And then, so there's the mental health aspect for children, okay, that has to be addressed. And not every teacher has that empathetic understanding of mental health. I did because I had my own little incident when I was 17, but not every teacher does. We can all be trained, we can all be lessoned, whatever the case is in our training. But if you don't have real life, world experience of mental health, you're not going to really empathize or connect with the students. You have 35 kids in a classroom, which is the case in my school district. It's going to be hard to connect with every single one of them. It's going to be very challenging. Not every kid is going to like that teacher. I mean, I'd say about 90% of all the students like me because I developed a relationship with them. But the other 10% are like, yeah, whatever. Regardless is, as a substitute teacher, which I was for a long time, and I'll give you a reason why I was a sub, is my first important job, starting in my 20s, was caregiver for my grandmother and my dad.
Mm,
And coming out of college, my dad went through open heart surgery. He's stable for the most part. My grandmother is stable now, but for the last 10 years, a lot has happened. And it's taken energy from me, and I had to take days off from work to help them.
yeah.
Anything, support, my dad has no other family but me, and my grandmother is the only one around here. Um, so I go back and forth constantly.
Mm-hmm.
As many parents are blessed with childcare in their 20s, I was blessed with adult care in his 20s. And
Mm-hmm.
so, whether we are parents or we are caregivers, we are all natural born caregivers, educators,
Yeah.
teachers. We all care. We all come to bring care into the world.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. And what has helped me throughout this whole time as an educator, as a family man, has been my spiritual development.
Mm.
And especially since COVID, a lot of people are starting to turn to different things, and I do have to bring some things to light. A lot of people think tarot cards and crystals is spirituality, and you know what? Maybe on an energy level, maybe, but you know, people are seeing angel numbers. I have a candle with angel numbers. People are experiencing different phenomenons around the world in the last couple of years, especially during COVID. But true spirituality stems from having a relationship with the divine, having a relationship with your ancestors. And the very first religion in the world was actually African spirituality. I just read the scriptures, it's amazing. And it everything is stemmed from that. And on an energy level, it's going to be important to be grounded emotionally. It's going to be grounded to never be in a hurry. The element of sacrifice. Are we going to sacrifice things in our lives? Still decisions. Don't think about sacrificing material things. Think about sacrificing decisions. And what today I was going to do something, but this came up instead. This is more important. So it's the level of importance of priorities. And that's where spiritual development can help us. It's not only that awareness of things that come up, but the challenges. And but there's a difference between religion and spirituality and faith. They're all a little bit different. One's a belief system, one's a relationship, and one is what we do in times of challenge, prayer, meditation. And a lot of people think
Mhm.
spirituality derives from religion. It's actually religion that derives from spirituality.
Reality. Do you think so? Take me back to the time when you were younger, and you talked a little bit about your story about being bounced around, right? Um, can you recall, like, what was your how did you cope with that? What was did you cope through spiritual, or did you come to that based on the pain that you went through?
I think it's something I've always had. Sometimes in life it was more dormant than others. But I remember when I was 5 years old and my dad took me to Caples Lake here in California in his white van, and I'm looking up at the stars and I'm just so amazed at the mountain sky. You see the Milky Way for the first time, and just as a 5-year-old kid, I'm like, I even put this in the book I'm writing in my memoir. I'm like, there has to be something to this. There has to be something else to this. And I happen to be in Redwood Christian at this point, so I'm learning Christian education. But to me, it was nature that helped me get through all of this. Going camping and going hiking, and my grandmother taking me on trips as well. It was nature, because nature is something we could see, feel, and experience here on this planet. And that's when I developed my love for nature and the spirituality that it's within nature. And so that was probably my first experience as a 5-year-old kid. There were times when it was more dormant than others. I always believed in a higher power. Always thought there has to be something more to this. Because if you think about the stars as like a language, like there were, for so many years, people used the stars as navigation. You know, how are they able to figure that out? How are these stars just in the exact location they're supposed to be? Like there has to be some sort of intelligence to it created all of this for us.
And let me ask you this: so you've gone through a lot of stuff, and I know we don't even have time to on here to tell the whole story, but
No.
you have a story, and I'm often just like, I love when people can come as they are, share where they are, who they are, and still be able to know that they're going forward, to make a difference in the world because of where they've come from, because of who they are and who they're called to be. And I know that one of the things you said that I really love, too, that I know you didn't mention we didn't mention everything, was that you have a God given uh, talent and inspiration and motivation to teach and encourage people through their pain and challenges. And right now in our world, we are in a space where there's lots. of pain, lots of challenges. And, I really want us to think about, guys, as you are listening to my wonderful guest, just talk about his story. Think about, how do our children deal with pain and challenges, and especially if they're watching us go through. I want you to talk a little bit about building relationships with our children in a way where we can help them, help guide them to make sense of the fact that you're going through these different things. You're misbehaving in class. You may not even understand why you're being called the bad kid, or why you may not be understand. You may not understand. You might want to learn. I want to know a little bit more, Ray, about how we help our children find the courage to go from pain to purpose as educators.
Well, as educators, there are a lot of things that are out of our control right now. We have possible school shootings we have to think about.
Yeah.
We have, of course, the virus that can pick off at any time.
Right.
Half the world seems to take it serious. The other half the world seems not to take it serious. Half the world seems to take certain issues serious. The other half the world doesn't. So politically, economically, and socially, there are so many factors that are going on socially, and that impacts the classroom because
Yeah.
schools are a society. Whatever happens out there is going to happen in the schools because
That's
children come from their family environments. Whatever behaviors they're learning from their parents, they're bringing into the classroom. And I will tell you, I have a question for the parents. Do you want this to be responsible for your children's education?
mm,
Or do you want a book to be responsible for your child's education? Do you want them to be able to challenge themselves, to have problem solving abilities? It's kind of like when we were growing up, we didn't have these just to Google all the answers and use artificial intelligence to write papers. We had to actually sit and think. When I was an only child, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I just sit and think and rationalize my whole life constantly. If my mom yelled at me for some reason, I just sit and think, how do I solve whatever problem I'm going through? And I feel like for some reason, because of so much technology import in the classroom, a lot of children now are freaking out when one little thing is just going wrong.
mm,
And that's what happens. If they lose their cell phone, they're having a panic attack. I'll probably have a panic attack too. There's a lot on here, but
yeah.
that's just the way society is. And I'll empathize. Hey, I lose this, I'm screwed. I run a business, regardless. I'm just saying, for as parents and as educators, what boundaries can we place? Can we
Yeah.
use this as a tool in the classroom instead of just saying, "Hey, no cell phones on campus"? What can we do? Because we are a changing society. We're going to get more tech based. What can we do to keep kids engagement with these things so they can use them properly? They could use them in a good way. Okay, calculator. Put your calculator on. They're going to do it. There's so many things that are out of the teacher's control. The kids are going to do it. So how can we actually use these as part of the curriculum for educators? But as parents, when it comes to the social media aspect of things, it is causing a sense of mental health in kids, maybe a little anxiety, a little depression. But is it really causing anxiety and depression? Or are they using this as an outlet for something else that's going on in the household?
Yeah, I believe children want to know more. They want to have a voice. They want to talk about and explore what is happening, the challenges and ups and downs. And we can put ourselves back when we were children. I'm like, there were times I'm like, I had questions and I wanted to talk about things, but I just was like, okay, well, maybe not. Maybe if nobody's going to talk to me about it, then I'm not going to. I'm just okay. I'm just going to keep
And,
wondering.
and, and this is a message for parents. If your child knows more than you think they know.
Yeah, they do.
Children are like, well, I'll put an analogy. If electricity is a motion if electricity is a motion, the child is the pan on the stove. Children absorb emotions, and they absorb them and they absorb them.
They do.
And most of their emotions are reflective on the parent's decisions. So, as parents, as caregivers, whatever decisions you make, whatever words that come out of your mouth, small, minute, too big, it's going to impact your child.
That is so true. That's why learning environments are so crucial in and out of the classroom. The
Yeah.
atmosphere that we create. I really one of the reasons why I really wanted to have this great discussion with you today, Ray, is because we're seeing it from like a whole view. And it's not necessarily about tests and scores and who's in the classroom and who what checklists we're checking off, or it's not necessarily about parents. It's not about parents against teachers. And I love how you talked about that earlier about how we both play a huge role as educators. Educators are in the home, educators are in the schools. And as you were speaking about how children absorb things, like we absorb things. My sister and I, we were just talking about this earlier. We absorb what is happening within our atmosphere, and it can have effect on us. So even much more with children. And so it's an intentional thing where we really do have to shift the culture of the classroom, the home, all of that. So thank you for sharing that.
The
Hmm.
difficult part is that children are less inclined to really speak their mind about things.
Yeah.
And it's the children that do speak their mind that do get in trouble. And it's,
Say more about that.
you know, and that's the thing, and that's one thing I do think education could improve is to allow. Why is it that it's not until college that you're allowed to find your voice? I
Mm,
think this is a good time for high school students, maybe not middle school, but high school students to find their voice. And then we get a little bit of that in the Social Justice Academy at my school. We get a little bit of that in seniors. But I'm pretty sure a 14, 15-year-old has a way, is old enough to have some sort of voice.
I will say I taught kindergarten all the way up to about maybe ninth grade.
Yeah, yeah,
And I will say that I knew I had to like go to my space when I was younger and how I felt like I did not have a voice even as a little girl, like a little
yeah,
child. And so I tried to create experiences both in the school and outside of the school,
yeah.
like with my nieces, nephews, all of them, like how do you feel? I'm just going to teach you it's an appropriate way to say certain things or do certain things. I'm going to teach you that you do have a voice though. You don't have
Yeah.
to always agree with me. What do you think? So I like intentionally built that into my practice as a
Mhm,
person, period. Because
mhm.
I know when we talk about empowering relationships, that's how I would empower their relationships with me, because they knew if I come by you or with you or I'm in your class, or I know that I can speak up and have a voice. And whether you like as young as kindergarten, not a lot. That doesn't happen a lot.
No, it doesn't. And the teacher's teaching, a kid says one thing. Oh, it's one thing to say something out of line. But I remember when I was in high school, we had a teacher named Mr. Daru, and he would put a quote on the board
Hmm.
in the beginning of history class. And I added a little similar element to this, my spiritual education, something I learned from him. And in the quote, he would write down our journal, and then he would ask people to ask what they wrote. And this not only helped us find our voice about certain things, but also helped critical thinking. It also helped
Hmm.
self reflection, and maybe if someone else disagreed with you, how to debate, whatever. But it was genius for him to do that, and I think we could do that
I
in
love that.
elementary schools. I
Yeah.
think you can have
Oh,
a quote on the
absolutely.
board. And what do you think of this quote? The answers will be different.
And they should,
It'll be
as they
much
should
more,
be.
it'll be much more imaginative at the elementary side of
Oh,
things.
come on. Yeah, but it's good to know, because then children feel like you kind of see where they are, and you can see where to help reach them and make the connection with them and their
Exactly,
families. Yeah.
exactly. And the thing about, and I do want to tell you, and which is what got to the whole purpose through pain on this episode to go back
Mhm.
to that is with the thing about marriage and in relationships is that that is the child's greatest teacher,
Mm.
because whatever he learns from home, he's going to take with them the rest of his life. He's going to have a favorite teacher for 10 months and then never have that teacher again. But he has his mom, his dad, his grandparents, his aunts and uncles, his cousins for the rest of his life. So, what is it that you want to teach your child
Come
if
on.
you're arguing in the household about every little thing that doesn't matter? He or she is learning that behavior.
Come on.
If there's problems in the household, there's a way to actually handle these things in the bedroom, away from your child. Don't do it in front
Mm.
of the child. Away. Like, okay, we have a problem, we have a conflict. This is where spiritual development helps. We're not going to over exert ourselves. We have a disagreement. Absolutely. Mental health is rooted in family dynamics. So here's the thing. We're gonna go in the room. We're gonna discuss this. We're gonna come with a compromise of the problem. We're not gonna argue in front of our kid. We're not going
Come
to
on.
argue because arguing for children is very triggering for them. They don't like to see mommy and daddy argue. They don't like to see mommy and daddy fight. But mommy and daddy have triggers. They have triggers, okay?
Yeah.
And because we have not healed our inner child, when we oftentimes we
Right.
don't,
Say that again. Say
we have
that
not healed our inner child when we got into relationships, and that's what brings.
again.
Well, first of all, relationships can make a monkey out of a man in a real split second, and also for women, it just and doesn't matter what orientation you are, it just really can bring the best out of us, or it could bring the worst out of us. There's really no in
Yeah.
between. I chose to be the best version of myself because of my wife. I'm like, I gotta get into therapy because I'm not doing well. I'm 26 years old. I ain't gonna end up like my parents, divorced and whatever. Regardless, is I want to make sure. But I want to let you know, and for the people that have children here, you don't have to raise your kids like your parents raised you. You don't have to do that. You
Come
could
on.
take certain elements. You could take pauses that were taught to you, but you could change the way your marriage right now is the start of a whole new family,
Mm.
start of
And
a
it's
whole new
a whole
family.
new dynamic.
It's a whole new dynamic.
Come
You can
on.
bring elements, and I want to tell the audience right now, I am in an interracial, intercultural, interreligious marriage, and we are happy. Why? Because we understand the importance of family dynamics. We understand that emotional, mental well-being, to control that and try to work on that every day is important. And, me being raised Christian, her being raised Hindu, we just have a relationship with God and just leave it at that. Who cares about the last 5,000 years of history? Have a relationship with God at the end of the day. Okay? Supposedly, my Savior was crucified 2,000 years ago, and supposedly, her God was killed 5,000 years ago with a bow and arrow. Okay? So, at the end of
Listen,
the day, it
let
does
me
not
say this.
measure.
Let me stop you right there. I love the the notion of shifting dynamics, because when we get so caught up in everything
Yep.
all the time and we don't have a personal relationship, like personally I say personal relationship with God, it is really difficult to, if you don't have foundations and faith in your roots, and what is it, if you stand for something, there's a quote that says, if you don't stand for anything, you fall for, what is it, you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. But I love how you connected this with the family dynamics. I wanted to bring up your quote here because I really believe like mental health right now is from so many different things,
Yes.
trying to be everything, trying to do everything, trying to figure out how, and and our children are like that. I want to hone in for you all guys, everybody listening, that what we do does matter. What we say, we might say to our children certain things, but what we do, they are watching. They are watching our actions, and we are not always going to get it right. As educators in the home, as educators in the classroom, as educators wherever, we are not going to get it right. But what I heard you say, Ray, is like you and your wife made first of all, you by yourself. wanted to be the best version of yourself, but you knew that you needed, being you knew that finding this relationship helped you to even go to the next level with that. And I love that, because at the end of the day, our children are not going to operate at their highest level if we don't teach them and model, we don't push them forward. I'm glad that you have somebody in your life that is challenging you beyond where your family may have come, or her family, let's go beyond and let's do that together. And so this whole show, this quarter is about family dynamics and how we educate in and out of the home, in and out of the classroom, and in the community. And so, Ray, this quote is beautiful. I don't know. You can read it to everyone,
Well, I'll
or
read it. I do believe mental health is rooted in family dynamics, which is why I decided to become a relationship coach that emphasizes heavily on spirituality in a time where many are questioning the belief of a higher being or are looking for guidance in areas they probably should not. And I want to explain areas should not. If someone says they're God, throw them out the window. We do not need another Jim Jones experience in the world right now. And I don't. For those of you who don't know who Jim Jones is, Google him. 1973, led a cult following to South America and killed him on Kool-Aid. So people will follow this person and that person. It's not about following one person or that person. You want to follow me? Fine. I don't care. You like what I have to say? You can follow me on Instagram, but I'm never going to ask for your follow. If you like what I'm saying, then yeah, fine. That's your choice. I'm never going to force you to do something. I'm going to say, let's accept others for the person that they are, not how they view life. Here's the thing. This person votes like that, he's automatically your enemy. Okay? How is this? What is this teaching our children that are age 10, 12, 13? That it's okay just because someone's Republican or Democrat or Hindu or Muslim, that it's okay that they're your enemy? It's not okay. And I will tell you right now, we're at a point in life right now, we're at a standstill. So, yes, we are stuck in this world. So, just like as an individual, eventually, when you get into a therapist, you're going to hit a wall. Boom. You're going to hit a wall. What are you going to do after 4 years of therapy? You're going to get into more spiritual development. You're going to get into energy healing. You're going to get to the root of the issue. Or are we just going to continue at this wall? And this is what's going on with the world right now. We have hit a wall in our time. And we could choose to start loving and embracing people again, or we could end up losing ourselves in the process. It's
I,
really, we're really in kind of like two different roads we could take
mm,
right now. And we're on the verge of a civil war. We are in this country, but it's not going to be fight. It's going to be an ideological civil war, which you can't fight. How do you fight an ideology civil war? What do you can't use a gun to do that. You have to fight that with your heart. So whatever you believe in, you fight with your heart, not with your fists, not with your gun, because that's just, I mean, whatever happened to the most simple thing, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt,
and
I mean,
you
it's just so
know,
simple. These rules that have been on for thousands of years are just so simple. But you see, mental health is rooted in family dynamics. So if someone has mental illness, maybe their parents deserted them a long time ago. They're raised by their grandmother. They feel unloved. But guess what? They have an automatic assault rifle right in that next room. They have a bad problem at a school. They have a terrible problem with the bully. They're 18 years old. They're going to go straight to that school they had a problem with and shoot it.
and we want to shift that narrative away from
And
pain to
into
violence. We
purpose.
want to go into purpose.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you right now, I am not anti-gun. I'm not pro-gun. I'm neutral with that because some people might say I want to protect my family, whatever the case is. I'm not anti-pro anything. What I am though is we cannot be as a two-party system, okay, that runs this country. You cannot be a party that says I'm the party of family if you don't have a solution for mental health, and we cannot, because it's rooted in family dynamics. But you can't be the party of climate change when you actually put something and say it's okay to drill in Alaska for the next 30 years. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on politically right now. It's pissing people off. It's just there's a whole row
There's,
of things that are going on
there's a
out of
lot.
our control. We have 30,000 different news sites telling us different information every day. We don't know what to believe. So what do? We go from within. If there's something you don't agree with, you fight with your heart.
I love it. I love when the call to action of really thinking about we've got to protect our next generation of students. We
Yes.
got to protect of children, our legacy. We got to protect even now,
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
There's a lot. I appreciate your perspective um, of really thinking about that from a wide spectrum, but then bringing it back to our children feel and see all of this. So, what does it mean for them? What does it mean for us and our families? And mental health is a real thing, and I think it has increased. Of course, we know the numbers are super high in the world, period. But then when we think about the violence, you talked a little bit about that, and we don't have so much time to talk about so many things. I do want to
Right.
get to some of the things that you do and how you help people because I really think that it's important. So thank you for highlighting your journey and connecting it to your purpose and your passion. And I really want you all as an audience to think about what where are you at? Where do you stand in all of this? And how can you stand within all of this?
Find your voice.
you know, so let's talk a little bit about how you, Ray, or you can just respond however you like, but thinking about how can we help people in this journey?
Everybody has a mission to help someone in this world. That's what we're called to do.
Hmm.
Even the worst person is going to help someone once or twice in their life. It's just part of the human desire and the human heart.
Yeah.
If you, Even if you work a 9 to 5 and don't really care about starting a business that helps people, well, I want to share a story that I read in the book and that really resonated with me. Then I'll go into how I'm helping marriages and relationships after that.
Hmm.
Let's put it this way: one pastor gets a call. Another pastor, did you know Jesus is coming to visit today? And another pastor says, oh, yeah, it's coming. All of a sudden, 50 people from different parts of the world have a confirmation that Jesus is going to visit their church today. So everybody's saying Jesus is coming to visit our church. They're getting the choirs ready. They're getting all this fantastic. They're dressing up. And supposedly the day is today that Jesus is coming. Well, in this little old neighborhood, you have a homeless man that's walking the streets, and everybody's dressed up. And people are, and this homeless man, what's going on? And they go, oh, Jesus is coming to visit our church today, right? Jesus is coming to visit our church. So we're getting the choir ready. They're getting the musicians ready, okay? And people are looking at the homeless man. Well, you know what? If you worked hard, maybe you can get where we're at today too. Finally, this woman that isn't partaking in um, this whole notion of church goes, "Sir, you're a homeless man. Do you need help? What's going on?" The homeless man goes, "Well, aren't you going to go to church? Jesus is coming today." And the woman goes, "Well, sir, you need help. You need help, and I want to help you. What do you need help with?" Well, who do you think Jesus was that day?
Mm.
A homeless man. So, just like in a Christian perspective, everybody thought Jesus would be some sort of king and pertain to their own community. When in reality was he had no home. The way scripture says he probably bounced from his mom's to his friends and the church. I mean, at that time you can get away with something like that. But wouldn't it be just like God just to flip something right upside down? What do we think? We envision something, we think this is going to happen like that, and it actually happens the exact opposite. The way we think, just pointing it out there. We get in these big mega churches that put on a big show. But what are they doing to help the homeless person on the street? What are they doing to solve the mental health crisis? I don't know. Some,
I want to share with the audience, what's moving you right now. I always ask for a quote or a song, and I appreciate what you shared about what's moving you to help people right now. And as you shared that story and you shared your perspective, I'm asking everyone to reflect on how are you helping? What's your mission? How is God using you to really support the crisis that's happening now with mental
yes.
health, and so, but I appreciate say a little bit more about your quote here that you wanted to talk about
Well,
with me.
you know what? I'm going to tell you right now. Everybody tries to be goal orientated around January 1st, 2nd. Let's face it, New Year's goals really only work maybe a month and then we get back. Think about when your birthday. You're another year older. Mine's June 22nd. Okay, mine's June
Oh,
twenty
happy
second.
belated.
So I think about like what did I not accomplish? What did I did accomplish? Am I happy with what I did that year? Because that's when your year starts. Is on your birthday. You have a calendar year, then you have your birth year. So if we do it around our birthday, we're not worried about New Year's resolutions. We're not worried about I got to get in better health. I made that decision this birthday to get in better health, to make some changes on psych meds so I could lose weight and to make some very important decisions in my own mental and spiritual well-being. Meditating a lot more and exercising a lot more, eating the right fruits and vegetables a lot more, down 7 pounds because of it. So we just it's the ability to self-reflect is what needs to be achieved personally and professionally. I do believe is what moves the season.
I,
And to go a
mhm.
little bit more on what I do is I teach divine consciousness. That's what I teach to couples in struggling points in their marriages. You got to have a kid, in order to qualify for this. Because when you have children and you're on the struggling point, you're not worried about your past. You're worried about your future. And that's where coaching comes into play. It helps you. So, what my program does, especially, is I give 12 sessions of life planning, which helps with the life, communication, work life balance, having a future vision, any of those things. I could do financial coaching if that's your problem. There are different crisis points in marriage. And so I can't tell you what crisis point you're going through. But if I have enough knowledge and experience to help you with it, I'm going to help you with that. Divine conscious spiritual education is going to teach you how not to let materialism ruin your marriage, which we're so composed and so on a capitalist society. Buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. All of a sudden, we're 60 years old, not be able to retire because we spent it all on new cars and how whatever the case is. So, how are we less materialistic? How do we sacrifice? How do we actually not be such in a hurry to do things and just do things when they come? Relax, be peace. That's what divine consciousness training for. So I have spiritual, I have relationship coaching, or where that mental and emotional management comes into my program is energy healing, which gets you to the root of the issue. I will tell you, I won't work with just anyone. You're going to have at least a therapist for at least a couple of years because, like therapy, with anything, you're going to hit a wall. So, what do you do to take the next level? A lot of therapists may not come with the spirituality part of it. So, you're going to want to find someone, if you are spiritually inclined, to help you get to the next level in your marriage. I was in therapy I've been in therapy for 7 years. But if I didn't do energy healing, if I didn't do spiritual development, if I would have at one level. And you want to continue to raise the bar with yourself. And leave the rest up to you.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that you have a standard, um, because we talk a little bit about supporting um, our children, but we've got to have a standard for ourselves as adults, as educators, as parents. And children need to know that, hey, we're always growing, we're always going to the next level. So I really appreciate that aspect of what you do. And Guys, we are, and if you're just tuning in and if you're on the replay, say hashtag replay. I want you to show some love for my guest. If you have questions for him, go ahead and put him in the chat, even if you're on the replay, because we will cycle back to him. And listen, I tell you what, our children need to understand that it is normal to go through pain. And it's also normal to get help to support to go and support to go through that. It's normal that they should be able to develop healthy, the best of themselves and healthy relationships because they are the best of themselves. Your children can go through counseling as well. If we really want to empower true, authentic healing from the pain, we really have to act it out as well. And so I know that we are in our season of family, school, and community educators, and Ray is an educator in his way. He was in the classroom, he knows what it's like to be in the classroom, and he also educates in ways with adults right now. And so I love what you say, Ray, when you talk about your mission is to share and accept other, share the best of yourself, but also accept others for the person that they are. And so I think you all need to connect with him because I think that's where he's at. Who are you? I want to accept you for who you are, and let's walk through to the best of you. Right. And so I encourage you guys to connect with him. He has a book coming out soon. He's working on. If you want to talk a little bit about your memoirs, just briefly, and
I know we're on more time, but I am working on a memoir with a message. I teach off my life experience. It should be done sometime next year, March, April, May, June. I want to finish my life story by the end of this year, so I'm going to be typing in this year. Will be published next year. But if you want to get more updates on that, you're going to have to follow me on my social media. So
yes, guys, you see it right down there on the screen, and you also see it in what I just had, and I'll put it in the chat as well. This information for you all, so you can follow. I'm actually just going to put here's the website right
yep,
here.
yep.
And you know how to get connected with Ray. Also, if you're struggling with your children and you're not sure quite how to help them and work with them, and you're trying to work through marriage and all that, you raise your guy. He's got you. He's got your back. He's got you. And I just really want you all to tune in all the way until September for this segment because we are talking about family and communities and how we educate and how we can do it in a better way. And we're specifically doing it now because we get to do exactly what Ray was saying, self-reflect on what has been going on through the school year. I know some of your kids might still be in school, some people might be in school, but it is a good time for us to band together as a family, a community-based family, and rally around the families, the couples, the children, and everyone to come together and really offer that support. And so that's why we're doing this session, this episode, and then the whole series. So I'm super excited about that. Ray, do you have any words of wisdom that you want people to like to close out with, or you want people to remember? And guys, like I said, go to his website and be looking out and follow him for his book if you're interested in understanding the depths of this and how to really go from your pain to purpose, and so that you can empower relationships through courage. Through courage and spirituality, and not just feel so one-dimensional and stuck. Anything you want to close us out with? I will spotlight you here.
Sure. If you are struggling right now, you're not alone. Many people are struggling right now. But sometimes we got to turn off the television, turn off the phones, think about what it is that you really need help with. Who is it out there that can help you? It could be in your community, it could be online, whatever. But whatever it is that you're going through, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. As dim as it seems, don't give up. Because what the minute we give up is the minute we fail our children and the next generation. And I want to tell you, Native Americans had a saying, whatever decision I make right now, how is it going to impact the seventh generation? Think of it like that in our marriages. If we have to do something right now, how does this impact my children? How does it impact my grandchildren, my great grandchildren? We could do that monetarily, we could do that health wise, especially with money. So Spiritual developments, love from within. It's always from within. It's always from within. And if we go from within, we could find a lot of answers we're searching for. We don't have to follow that person or that person or that diva or that podcast host. You are your own answer. You can be your own miracle. Thanks, Queen. Back to you. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. I love it. We have everything. I love that you said we have everything that we need inside of us. I really appreciate you feeling comfortable and confident to be yourself and coming your own way and share your perspective and your way of your journey and then your way forward to the best of yourself. Thank you for that. That is really helpful. I believe that everybody is educating somebody somewhere. And today you did educate our state on our stage and walked in excellence according to what you were called to do. And so thank you for that. We appreciate that. And I'm hoping, again, guys, I'll say it one more time. Go ahead and connect with Ray. He is available for you if you are meeting the criteria and pushing forward. I want to remind you all a couple pointers that I got today as well as we close and say good night. And I put in those links there, but I want you to remember that everything is, you have everything inside of you. That's something I really got. I also want you to remember that your children are watching you and everything that you do. So these are things that are highlights to me, and I want to call them back out. That you are your child's greatest teacher. You are your child's greatest teacher, and that's something that Ray and I talked about even before we got on here. You are your child's greatest teacher, and if you are in the classroom and you're teaching them in the classroom and they're misbehaving, right? They may be seeking attention for something. So if your child is misbehaving, you're not sure as an educator what to do. You definitely can reach out for support to me. Everybody Educate. We work with the most disconnected children, the most disconnected schools, who feel like you're failing and your kids are failing, but you never know what the highlight of your life right then in that moment is. It could be the arguing at home, as Ray mentioned earlier. It could be things that are bothering them that they just don't know how to deal with. And so we help through that. You can have a winning classroom in the home and in school. And talk to your children. Let's talk, communicate.
Engage with them. Play checkers. Play chess. Play sports. Do what you got to do.
It's put
These aren't going
down
anywhere. Get off the dang phone, man. Engage.
put
My
down
dad, I'm
the
going to tell you right now, my dad came home from 8 hours of mud jacking and made sure he could play baseball at the park.
come
Okay. We're
on.
talking about mud jacking. Okay. Physical work, and he still had the energy, tired to throw me balls to the
Mm.
park. Then we can do that. Girls, ladies, you could still do that. Okay. Those times have not changed. We could still do that.
Yes, thank you, and I appreciate that, and your children will appreciate that. And again, if you are like I need help with that as in the home and marriage, please reach out to Ray. We appreciate you. Say thank you, please, to my guests, guys. Don't forget to share this out and to watch the replay. Listen, if you're on the replay, write in here to us. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear how you go from pain to purpose and what questions and things that you still have. So thank you guys. Next week, and I'm going to just spotlight real quick because I want you all to know this is going to keep going. So invite people. We're going to continue to support and help. I don't want people to go back to school and think and say, oh, the parents and the teachers were separated and the community is and the schools are here. No, guys, we're giving you all tools every single week to work together and educate students and work with your teachers. Now, listen, my book is coming out at the end of this, at the end of the summer, and it's called Success Strategies to Creating Winning Classrooms. And we do include ways to support the parents as well, and the educators, and your most disconnected children. We also talk a little bit about social emotional learning and mental health. So, guys, Let's go. We are going to shift the way that we do education. We appreciate you on Hosting Brilliance, tuning in every single Monday. Tune back in next week because we will have more amazing guests, just like my guest here today. Ray has been excellent. Thank you so much, Ray. I just thank you for taking your time out to grace our stage with your perspective and tools that we can use to grow forward and do it in love. All right. Thank you. We appreciate you. Don't
Bye.
go anywhere. You guys, bye. You guys, we'll talk to you later. As a matter of fact, when you all are thinking about your journey, every week, think about what's your journey. We gave you some tools on that journey. I want you to remember what Ray was saying here. And then I also want you to know that you can get in contact with him. But don't forget, we host Brilliance every single Monday. So tune in. So I'm excited to add Ray to this wall for this year of a brilliant educator. So thank you, Ray. You will be added to our wall of brilliance. And if you guys, if you know anybody that you feel is brilliant and is changing the way we do education now, because the time is now, tell them to tune on in. I am Queen Educator, your host, and we appreciate you for being here today. And we will see you next week. Bye,
Bye
guys.
bye.